I wanted to tap in with a handful of things that occurred in the Suns' win over the San Antonio Spurs from Saturday night. It was a very impressive game from Chris Paul, Cam Johnson, and of course Mikal Bridges. So I want to dive into a couple plays from each one of those three that really kind of just stood out to me over the course of that game. It's only going to be one from Chris. So the first play here we're going to see from CP is just something that I love to see from them as they continue to diversify their catalog in terms of the types of pick and rolls they run. And they're all effective with Chris Paul at the helm. He's one of the best maestros the game has ever seen. And here he's catching it in the mid post, around where a logo would be on the floor, and then flowing into a pick and roll from there. And this angle is just impossible to guard because he's already in a scoring zone. So a screen with Chris Paul that's already occurring in a scoring zone automatically eliminates the option of going under. You can't really go under on screens on Chris Paul anyway, but especially from this area of the floor, you really can't go under. So if you do decide to go under and the big doesn't step up, it's automatically a layup. It's a mid-range pull-up for CP. If the big does step up, all Aiden has to do is turn his shoulders, reverse pivot to the basket, and it's going to be a pass up to the square. He can catch that alley-oop, and he can bring it down, or he can finish it off the catch. So it just really stresses, as we'll see here, it just really stresses the defense because, as we see here, the basket's going to go in. It's a layup, of course. But Pirtle he has to hesitate in stepping up because he knows that the roll is right there. And all of this, the decision-making is so much quicker because Chris is already in the paint and already at his porch to where he's made living off of with his patented elbow pull-ups. And I just love to see the Suns keep this in their rotation of pick and rolls that they run over the course of any games. All right, this next couple players here we're going to see are from Cam Johnson. This first one is going to come out of their zoom action. So you're going to see they're in secondary break here. They're going to go into delay action, and it's going to flow into their zoom or Chicago action. So we're going to see Cam get the down screen here at the top of the screen. Then he's going to come off the dribble handoff. And then as we see, as he turns to get downhill, he's reading the coverage of the big man who's defending DeAndre Ayton, of course, and which we're going to see is a deep drop. He's below the free throw line. And one of the points of evolution with Cam is, of course, his ability to handle the ball in these scenarios as a moving target and pick and roll adjacent type plays, but also his processing speed and his ability to make passes. And one of the most keen ways to gauge someone's growth as a passer is to see the angles that they're making deliveries on and just the windows that they're seeing as passers. When you start seeing the game through windows like this, as we see from Cam, this is where you can really tell that the growth and that the evolution is truly underway here. As he turns the corner coming off of the second screen, and then you look, if he tried to sneak this through, it's either going to be a kick ball here, as you see Pirtle doing the Jokic special with lifting the foot up to take away the pocket pass, or it's going to potentially be a turnover if they happen to not call a kick here. So seeing the game in windows and recognizing that on the other side of Pirtle is the middle of the floor, the middle third of the floor being wide open below the free throw line, and just sneaking this behind Pirtle's back after setting him up with the KG pump fake, it's just really indicative of the growth of his game and where he's headed as a playmaker. And speaking of him and his growth, as we see him grab this rebound in the next play here, this is maybe my favorite play from Cam in this game, as we see him handling the rock in the traditional pick and roll, going with the drag screen with Aiden in the break. And as we see he gets into it, he's going to do a great job of anticipating that Jones here is going to jump the screen to try to take away that angle, and then countering that with the quick spin back to the sideline, pinning him inside, and then getting toward back to that outer third of the floor. But he's not done once he gets over the screen, as he hits him with a nice and very, very, very sound hesitation here, just to get enough leverage and separation. Gets his shoulders past. You see the offhand activity as well. This is all just good on good on good from Cam Johnson. And then he's still not done yet. As he gets into his finish, you're going to see a subtle off-footed finish, wrong-footed finish here, a la Tony Parker, a la prime Chris Paul, a la Ja Morant at times. Just very cagey and crafty. And it's the subtleties within Cam's game that we're really seeing him get back into since he's come back into the fold over this last handful of games. Beating Jakob Poeltl to the basket here, to the block, and getting this off the glass before he can get a good contest up. Just really technical, really sound, and really subtle with his growth and evolutions as we continue to see him compile more reps. And then this last one here is going to be Chicago or Zoom from the middle of the floor here. And we're going to see Cam getting into his bag as a passer again. Doing a great job of understanding and reading how the defense is playing Mikal Bridges here with Jeremy Sohan here in the corner. Reading that and hitting him with a timely pass and an accurate pass for Mikal to put on another display of athleticism and finishing on the other side of the basket here with Jakob Poeltl trying to converge on him. Just good on good between the twins there. And speaking of the twins, that's a good segue into this next transition, looking at Mikal Bridges. So we're going to look at one basket here from him in the fourth quarter, and then we're going to get into his overtime play. So this one, they went Spain, and the Spurs did a good job of communicating and getting back into proper positioning to essentially steal the possession away. So we're going to see Cam Johnson burn cut to move his defender from the middle of the action, and then they're going to flow into just a traditional pick and roll here, but it's going to be in an empty corner. It's actually going to be an angle pick and roll in the empty corner, We see Mikal catch, he comes off, he's reading the coverage, and you see Poeltl's up a lot higher than he typically is in his drop. Mikal reads that as he comes off the screen and it automatically turns the corner here, beats some baseline, and then he gets up a very impressive finish off the glass from an angle that most people wouldn't necessarily be able to play the glass off of. Most people would try to just put it in the air here and try to play with touch, but he's crafty enough and deft enough with his touch and his ability to finish as an elite finisher. Gets the leverage on the shoulders as he turns the corner, and then he's able to sneak this one in. Just very impressive. In the waning moments of the fourth quarter, no less. And now we're gonna get into overtime as you're gonna see him reject this screen. But look at the patience though. Like in earlier this season and even especially last season, Mikal gets to this point, he's either gonna string this out and then gonna reset and kick it up to Chris Paul as Chris Paul would step over to take over for this late in the shot clock, or he would go into this too quick and the advantage that he eventually creates would not be there the way it is as he plays through patience. Does a great job getting into contact, not going away from the contact, absorbing the contact and inviting it, and then playing off of it with separation with a quick little step back as Sohan's weight, as you can see, shifted back to his back foot, gets Mikal to separation, and he knocks that down. But it's the confidence to take the shot in this moment, the confidence to be patient, and the confidence to just get to a spot where he knows he's comfortable to knock down a shot, one of his patented shots, as the newest member of the MIDI committee. And then this next rep here, we're going to see the same thing just from the opposite side of the floor. So he does a good job setting it up on the outer third. They want to keep him there. So he obliges and plays again with patience to get to his spot. He's really good at playing within the mesh point of switches as well, as he does a great job of containing the attention of two players there. Gets to, again, a spot where he's very, very comfortable, does not rush, he's under composure, and he knocks down another midi falling away. Second in a row. And then this one is going to be yet another one here. Doing a great job. They're going to, again, keep him to the outer third, as you can see them setting up. And then as they flow into it, okay, boom, they're jumping to keep him to the outer third. He obliges, and again, look at where Jakob Poeltl is. Way up in his drop compared to where he was earlier in this game and over the course of it when there was anyone that wasn't Chris Paul with the ball. So Mikal, again, reads this, does a good job with the change of speed as well as the angle taken, and is able to sneak this up under. This is one of the most impressive finishes I've seen on the season across the NBA, just considering first of all, the rest of the shot clock, as well as going up against one of the better rim protectors, being able to sneak this up and under, again, with the wrong hand inside, and to play it off the glass on top of all of that, and to get the and one. And then there you can see just all of the confidence, all of the reps that I've mentioned earlier in December when he was going through his struggles, to just trust him, just trust his process. And all of those reps just adding up in real time, as well as us seeing Chris Paul defer to him in overtime, which is another very important point to note. And then we're going to see him again in pick and roll in the empty side, getting into this one last play here. He's going to do a good job of manipulating and then playing through different angles, not just going to the same spot again. He sees the drop. He sees where Poeltl is up higher again, doing a good job First of all, getting a good angle flip from Aiden to get separation. And then he comes off, and this is one of the things that Chris Paul does. Switching hands coming out of the empty side, doing a good job playing this to the different angles, and then gets into the pound and then the undercross to get to the other side, initiate contact in a legal manner. This is no different than you would see from, of course, from CP3, but also from someone like, say, Jimmy Butler or somebody like Paul George. Those elite wing type players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown especially, making this type of move. James Harden, of course, initiating the contact, but doing it in a crafty manner to where he's forcing himself to the free throw line. Just the subtle evolution of Mikal Bridges, all rooted within his confidence, is what's going to be a big driving force in helping the Suns continue to evolve and diversify their attack, especially in crunch time moments and in playoff type settings.